Hey, what's up, guys? This is Steve with the Range Minded Podcast with another tactical tip. And this time I'm going to talk about something that's going to be kind of fun, going to be kind of exciting. It's something that's kind of new in the firearms community. It's been around for a little while, but let's just jump into it. I want to show you something. Isn't this like the ugliest paint job you've ever seen? I actually did this Cerakote job myself. I am not a certified Cerakoter, but I played one on TV. And also, obviously, you see, this is completely clear. No magazine, nothing. There's no ammo anywhere near me, by the way. Whenever we handle firearms, we need to make sure that we're following all those safety rules. But I'm not talking about Cerakote. I'm not talking about handguns. I'm talking about the red dot itself. Red dots are fantastic, and they're becoming more and more popular in the community. So I think we should have a conversation about it. So maybe it's time for you to throw a red dot on one of your guns. Let's check it out. All right. First things first. Let's talk about what a red dot is. I'm actually going to pull this slide off of this guy here. Just bear with me. Pull the barrel and everything out here. Oh, no, I won't. It's a threaded barrel. Boy, this makes for good TV, doesn't it? The reason I want to pull this slide off this whole firearm is just so it makes everybody feel more comfortable. All right, let's talk about what exactly a red dot is, okay? First of all, normally they're some kind of a housing, sometimes hard plastic, usually some kind of aluminum or some kind of a metal housing on the outside with a pane of glass. You can see that shines up there. Now, what the red dot does is actually projects a dot on the shooter side of the glass, and when you bring it up in reference to your target, that dot, shines on the target. It comes really handy, especially with folks with failing eyes. What a red dot is not is a laser. It does not project a dot on the target. Nope, it only projects it on the glass inside of the actual reticle itself. And usually they're non-parallax. So like if you put the dot on the target, that's usually where the dots, as long as it's sighted in properly, that's where that bullet should end up going, unless you suck like I do. I don't know. The nice thing about having a red dot, probably the number one benefit, is your sight acquisition. Once you get used to how the red dot feels, how you can acquire that sight as you bring that gun up on target, the sight acquisition is usually much, much faster than just regular iron sights. Now, I know some folks are really good. You can see on my Glock here, I got this cute little fiber optic, which does help a bunch when acquiring that target, especially if it's nice and sunny outside. That fiber optic really lights up. But the nice thing about having the red dot is that light is always there. Once I come up on target, I can see that light on the pane of the glass, and I just put that dot on my target and I run the trigger. So acquisition is much, much faster once you get used to the red dot, that is, for first shots and follow-up shots. You're going to feel that a lot different once you start getting used to that red dot. Iron sights, I know some folks are really good with iron sights. I do okay with iron sights. Once you come up with there, you still have to make sure you're getting those sights lined up. Height and elevation and windage, right? You want to make sure those sights are lined up before you can take that shot. So it takes just a little bit longer, in my perspective anyways, to use iron sights instead of the red dot what's on your gun. Because we're seeing faster shots and faster follow-up shots, that's also helping our accuracy to become more improved when you get comfortable with that red dot sight. Because as that gun recoils, you're bringing it back on target. You're just putting that dot the exact same place on the target that you had before, and you're pressing the trigger. You're going to see faster split times. You're going to see greater accuracy the more comfortable you become with the red dot sight on your firearm. Another huge benefit when it comes to putting a red dot on your handgun is it's going to increase your situational awareness. What do I mean by situational awareness? Normally when you shoot with a red dot, you keep both eyes open. You should be keeping both eyes open. What that is allowing you to do is it's collecting more visual data of what's going on downrange. As you learn to keep both eyes open, but still focusing through that dominant eye on top of that dot, you're going to have more information being collected into your eyes, and you're going to be faster on those targets because you're going to see those targets as they're coming across. I know that might not make a whole bunch of sense, but it will. Once you get used to keeping both eyes shooting open, both eyes open shooting, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say, you're going to see an improved benefit between speed and accuracy. It happens. I promise it happens. For some shooters, not all shooters, there's kind of a learning curve of getting used to the red dot. Some of the more seasoned shooters might have a harder time getting used to seeing that dot project up on that glass. So they're having to kind of fish around until that dot shows up and then try to relearn where that is, as far as their muscle memory is concerned. But for new shooters, if you can introduce them right away to the dot, they're going to pick up on the fundamentals of having a dot on a gun much, much faster. So there's a learning curve involved. Again, new shooters are probably going to see a little bit quicker adoption of having a red dot on the firearm. If you're a more seasoned shooter, you might going to have a little bit of frustration. But as you work with it between dry fire, live fire, and some good competent training, you're going to find that dot is going to help you. All those things that we just talked about, whether it be speed and accuracy, follow-up shots, and field awareness downrange, you're going to see these things happen. All right, now let's kind of talk about the elephant in the room. Is it okay to use a red dot on a defensive firearm? In my opinion, yes. In fact, if you look on the gaming side, like IDPA and USPSA side of shooting worlds here, they're having a lot more matches where optics are allowed. Now, because of that, and because of the benefit of that we talked about before, speed and accuracy and those kind of things, it makes sense to have a red dot on a defensive handgun. We're seeing a lot of law enforcement running straight to using dots on their duty guns for those very, very reasons. In my opinion, having a dot on your gun and the proper training and getting the skills put in behind that dot, you're going to be a much safer shooter, a more efficient shooter, especially when it comes to any kind of defensive use. It is a fantastic option, and I highly, highly recommend it. Now, I can't make the decisions for you. It's not my job. This is not even legal advice. I am not an attorney. There might be some laws in your areas that say you can't have a dot on your gun, and that's up to you to decide, you to learn, and you to implement, not me. So make sure that you're following any kind of laws there, if there are any. Along with using it as a defensive tool, just like before, it's going to increase your speed and accuracy. Remember, time is life. The faster we can stop a threat, the better off things are going to be for us or whoever we're trying to protect. And that's what the dot provides, is speed and accuracy. The faster you can acquire that dot on the target, and the faster that threat is stopped, the more efficient and safer and life-saving the possibilities can be. So there's that benefit, as well as putting a dot on your defensive handgun. Another thing we can talk about, which I kind of don't feel like it really fits in here very well, is accuracy at distance. Now, handguns, they're not meant to shoot 1,000 yards, obviously. Most of these dots are going to project a dot at 100 yards that could be 3 or 6 inches in diameter, a large, large dot. They're not meant to be shot at 100 yards. They're not meant to be shot at 50 yards. We're talking within 20 yards. That's, most defensive gun uses are going to be even closer than that. So I kind of hate throwing the accuracy at distance thing in there. Yes, there is a benefit at distance, but it doesn't really fit in the defensive handgun side of the world. Okay, let's talk about training. Anytime you add a new mechanical device on a different mechanical device, it's going to require some kind of level of training. I know there's a lot of macho dudes out there that just say, I'll bolt it on my gun, I'll figure it out, and then it'll just go from there. That might be fine, but that's not my gunfight, that's your gunfight. My suggestion would be, anytime you decide to put a red dot on one of your firearms, you got to first learn how to use it. You got to learn how it functions, how it turns on, how it feels, how it changes the weight of the slide. You need to hit the range. It's going to change the reciprocal rate of that slide because you're adding weight to it. It's going to change the way the felt recoil is going to be because you changed the weight of the slide. And then training. There are so many good, competent red dot instructors out there. Seek somebody out that you have confidence in, somebody that knows how to teach the philosophy of a red dot and really explain the benefits and the dynamics of the dot on a gun, whether it be your USPSA race gun or a defensive handgun. It's really important that you get good, solid training no matter what. Everybody can learn from somebody. I am a full believer that somebody can teach you something. There are an amazing amount of instructors out there that are teaching some amazing red dot skills. A good class is going to cost you a good amount of money, but the benefit in the long run way outweighs the cost. I promise you. Get good training. And then don't forget hitting the range on your own and applying that training that you just paid a bunch of money for, you need to apply that on the range. You need to apply that in your dry fire practice to keep those skills crisp and your reaction time or action time, whatever you want to call it, as quick as possible. Training is an imperative. All right. The other thing that we got to talk about a lot is battery life. Now, there are, when it comes to red dots, you can just kind of go to the philosophy of good, better, or best. Don't just go to a big box store and spend $50 and buy a dot. I promise you, you're going to be disappointed very, very quickly. Most of the red dots, they attach, whether, like this guy has an MOS cut. This is a Glock with an MOS cut. The slide has been cut at the factory. You put a plate on and then you apply the red dot to that plate, and that's how it attaches to the slide of the gun. Some slides or some red dots use the dovetail for the rear sights. There are some dots now that use very strong magnets. I've never messed with those. I don't know how they work, but there's options of mounting that optic to your slide. But the battery life is what really is going to make the biggest frustration difference in the long run. And the weakness, again, if you're just buying a good product, it's not going to last. The glass is going to break. The batteries are going to die quickly. It's going to be a real frustration to you. So when you jump to the better or best qualities, you're going to get extended battery life by thousands of hours. I don't know what kind of witchcraft some of these companies are doing, but you're getting thousands of hours out of these battery lives. And some of them have a auto wake up. You pick up the gun, the light turns on, and then after a while they shut off, so you don't have to worry about turning them on and off. There's a lot of great options, and the better options are the more expensive ones. So just be mindful. You could be spending anywhere from $200 to $800 on a red dot sight. But again, buy once, cry once. You're going to get what you pay for. Now, as far as maintenance is concerned, obviously, again, you might have to change some batteries. You're going to get a lot of crud buildup, especially if you're running that gun a lot in a competition. You're going to have some fingerprints. You're going to have some carbon buildup. It's just the way it is. Follow the follow the instructions of the manual as far as maintenance is concerned. Maybe Q-tips or microfiber cloths. You don't want to damage that glass, or at least keep it as safe as you can. A lot of the red dots will come with a shroud that, as you put it in your safe, you can cover up that dot so it doesn't get scratched up. It does get frustrating when you get a lot of scratches on these glass. Some people, it's a major pet peeve. It kind of changes the way sometimes that the dot reflects off the glass. See, I said that too. The other issue that you might have is if you have astigmatism, that kind of does like a star flare sometime on some of these dots, and it could mess with how you see that dot downrange. So you got to keep that in mind as well. Are red dots a good option for any gun, whether it be a race competition gun or a defensive gun? In my opinion, yes. They're going to increase your speed. They're going to increase your accuracy. You're going to have better shots on target. To me, that's a gross benefit. Are there some downside involved? Sure. Cost, weight, and maintenance, which to me, those kind of are a non-issue in my perspective. There is a learning curve involved, especially if you're a more seasoned shooter. You're going to have to get used to how that dot reacts when you pick up the gun. You're going to probably be chasing that dot for a while, but then that comes back down to training, getting good competent training and spending time behind your gun. Anytime you add a mechanical device to another mechanical device, there's a new learning curve involved, and you got to get used to how all those things work together. But once you do, I think you're going to see a benefit once you add that dot to your gun. They're not cheap, but I'm telling you, they're worth it, and it's going to change how you shoot. It's going to change your range experience, and it's going to make your life a lot more fun. Anyways, I hope you guys like the segment on a red dot. If I got something wrong, if I got something right, whatever, if you have any questions, let me know. It'd be good to hear from you. Anyway, guys, remember, you're your immediate responder, so make good choices. All right, see you guys.